I'm not selling tableware, I'm selling an experience. And it just happens to be tableware. And then more so, it's like there are food ingredients that happen to be shaped as cups, spoons, bowls, and spoons and whatnot. So it's just, so the idea is like that I'm taking that whole tableware concept to the next level by building it into food and drink. So the range is like rice straws, so last an hour, don't go soggy, edible cups, 40 minutes hot and cold, edible biscuit spoons, edible bowls, brown plate.
Today I get to chat with Maxim Gelmann, founder and chief Stroodle of Stroodles Eco Tableware. Stroodles is all about sustainable food tableware, where they have a whole line of edible products that make sustainability fun through an experiential approach. So Maxim talks about how he approaches conversations about sustainability without the fatigue, and he does so through fun messaging. We also discuss his tableware portfolio as well as the educational experiences he offers. This is Earth ABC featuring Maxim Gelmann. Today we got the Chief Strudel himself, Maxim Gelmann. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
In our last conversation, one issue that you brought up, and I'm kind of in agreement with, is that people want to puke when they hear about sustainability, right? And I want to hear your opinion, being the sustainability space, like what makes that the case, and how do we as individuals change this like adverse response?
Yeah, thank you. I guess I need to be more careful with all my wording if I keep on being recorded now. So basically, what is, well, the technical term for it is probably sustainability fatigue. So, technical as in, I think it's a technical term, but I think there's actually proper research on it. But so basically, it's the whole fact that people are just tired of the topic. Because I mean, sustainability is a big buzzword. You hear it left, right, and center. Everyone wants to do something, but then not really. And so people especially as a business professional, and also on that buyer side, say in hospitality and so on, everything is always sustainability. So that's why people are just tired, because there's obviously a lot of like partly greenwashing going on, partly it's always the same message, and a lot of a tick boxing exercise. So it's that kind of, hence the sustainability fatigue, and also like the fact that like everyone wants to do something, but then not really. And so that's why I guess that makes, I guess it replies to more, I guess, in a professional context, where say you're a restaurant owner, so you keep getting sustainability from all sides. So I guess in private setting, it's still the case, but probably less so because it's a message. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
It does, yeah. I think greenwashing doesn't really apply in your case, just because like your line of products is literally like sustainable products. They're 100% biodegradable, not to mention they're also vegan, and just the design is also great.
Yeah.
But in terms of that like sustainability fatigue, how do you go about like with your messaging with your company Stroodles?
Yeah.
And then anything else related to like packaging, branding, to make sure that you kind of navigate this sustainability fatigue very elegantly?
Well, I call it out, so then directly like people can identify with it, like you did subconsciously. And then after, I just basically take a very different angle. So as a mission, or like high level objective, and the idea is like to change the narrative of sustainability away from that whole doom and gloom type perception, which leads to the fatigue as well. Because again, I guess I've never thought about it until now talking to you, but in the sense of like probably that doom and gloom perception and narrative almost like fosters almost like oil into the fire of the fatigue of it. Hence, obviously, if the whole sustainability topic, like I'm trying to do, is probably in a more fun, positive context, there'll be less fatigue going on because people are excited by the messages. So I guess that's how I'm approaching / fighting that, is by aiming to change that sustainability narrative away from doom and gloom to having fun with sustainability. Hence, for those of you then look at the website, I mean, it's all kind of like a yellowish, kind of like, some people say orange, whatever, but like it's a yellowish tone. It's like there's a mascot that makes you smile. So it's just like creating that fun, subconscious, directly like image of sustainability. which directly sets a different frame of mind, almost like the like the pink glasses that people say when in the romantic sense. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, like rose tinted lens, that idea. I really like how for sustainability fatigue, you're addressing that directly and just overall making the voice and then the talk about sustainability really fun.
Yeah.
Without stealing any thunder from your end, I'd love to hear you introduce your company and then your entire product portfolio, at least like the core ones.
Yeah, exactly. I'll keep it short, otherwise it's gonna go beyond the scope of the interview. So basically, so it's on a high level. Exactly, I'm trying to change that whole narrative of sustainability and inspire people how easy and fun sustainability can actually be. And I think probably the big thing, it's uncompromising, i.e., you can still go enjoy your drink. Or enjoy your alcohol, enjoy your food, but kind of do it without kind of compromising on quality or experience. And I think that's the big thing. So I'm not selling tableware, I'm selling an experience. And it just happens to be tableware. And then more so, it's like there are food ingredients that happen to be shaped as cups, spoons, bowls, and spoons and whatnot. So it's just, so the idea is like that I'm taking that whole tableware concept to the next level by building it into food and drink. So the range is like rice straws, so last an hour, don't go soggy, edible cups, 40 minutes hot and cold, edible biscuit spoons, edible bowls, brown plates. So that's on the food side. But the idea is like, for example, so the cup, don't just use it for coffee and hot chocolate, which you can do 40 minutes, but then, for example, make it, you looking at it as it's a wafer that has a texture and the flavor to it. So from a chef perspective, play with that flavor and texture, i.e. you ideally want to put, say, I don't know, a pudding or like a very creamy cocktail or affogato, which is coffee and ice cream. Same with the little bowl, the wheat cracker bowl. Again, it's just a wheat cracker that happens to be shaped like that. So again, putting something creamy like a mac and cheese, you eat stuff like a sandwich. So it's a new way to finger food. So you're delivering an experience while delivering the sustainability message, while basically ticking the box of needing a vessel to whatever, to eat, to drink, and whatnot. So it's just moving that way. And then beyond that, we also have kids activity remove the kids, it's activity boxes, because we had adults buying them as well, but although they are targeted at kids. But again, foodie meets sustainability activities. So one is a color changing lemonade. So using red cabbage makes water go blue and then purple, and then we teach basically about that whole red cabbage like color changing possibilities. There's recipes to make purple rice, purple noodles, and then basically and then rice straw to drink it with. There's then a cake and a mug mix as well, teaching about lucuma powder as a sugar alternative that comes with a chocolate spoon. And then we're just bringing out grow your own basil and make gnocchi and ravioli, again teaching about like that comes with ketchup flavored chip forks. So there's that side. Then we also have like sustainable kind of delivering the experiences yourself. So for example, I know you wanting to recreate a foraging scheme, so you're consuming, say, forest type foods in the kind of box that smells and feels like a forest. So so it's all about like there's various parts to the business to then deliver the actual experience as well.
Right. I think it's so funny how these activity kits, which were originally meant for children, ended up you seeing that adults were purchasing these like for themselves. I think that just speaks to the volume of fun not being limited to like any age, but also just like this experience that you're like selling these people, it has no bounds. And I like how you're thinking of it not just as like tableware. In terms of like that experience aspect, where are these tableware, these experience tableware, like where can people find them, or where can people get these things?
Yeah. So some of the products are sold for retail, so not the whole range, i.e. like for the end user, for your home party or whatever. So on the website, and then mainly in the UK retailers, sorry. And then otherwise like restaurants, bars, then there's like whatever immersive theaters, events, catering. So I mean, it's a very wide range, all the way to hospitals, as sad as that case study is, because I mean, they don't pose a security risk if something happens. So that's why it's a very like cruise ships. So I mean, it's a very wide spectrum. Anyone and everything that uses tableware basically is a customer. Again, like across the range. So obviously something like the straws. I mean, it's wider range, whereas I guess some other products become more specific use cases.
Right. I think a cruise ship, now that I think about it, is like such a good customer profile, because like you don't really have waste, because like the tableware is essentially edible, and then you're out in the water, you don't really have to worry about like added waste. Plus, like as a cruise ship, you're trying to cater like a whole like arsenal of like experiences to give to like your people on board. So I think even the finer details to like how people are eating, what they're eating with, I think just encapsulates that holistic experience really well. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and if it lands overboard, it's appetizer for the fish. So
that's true. They get a little treat.
Yeah.
In terms of like the people like restaurants, other business owners, caterers, how do they reach out to you to get your products?
Yeah, so partly direct, because obviously you've been around for a bit now. Partly to help with the support of programs like yourself. Obviously that helps with the awareness, but then also like through distributors. So again, they obviously have a much wider reach than I could ever do myself. So they have whatever hundreds of salespeople that go out and talk about it, and then partly it's in word of mouth, because I mean, say especially like in one town, say one person has the edible spoon for ice cream, the likelihood someone else wants it to stay competitive. So that naturally then works in my favor.
Right. And when you first started this company, I imagine you had like one product that really worked out well, and then you knew that you were onto something, and then you expanded your product portfolio as a result. What was that like signature product?
That was the pasta straw.
Pasta straw?
Yeah, back in the days, exactly. I just had that.
And then how did you go about expanding your product portfolio to the edible wafer cups, these like biscuit spoons, and so on and so forth? Because you have a wide range of products.
Yeah, no, it was naturally partly like the market almost forced me to, because from a big retailer / customer perspective, they don't want to list you for just one product. So you naturally need for end user it's fine, but like you needed a wider range to get the scale in that sense. And then basically just obviously once you do one, the other ones can like follow suit.
Gotcha. And in terms of like direction, like the very, I guess, obvious answer is like, expand your product portfolio. But in what you're thinking, what you have in mind, like what's in the pipeline for the next like 1, 3, 5 years?
Yeah, no, it's now more delivering the actual experiences. So, for example, I mean, obviously I'll add the odd product as necessary, but it's now more like we're then delivering, say, that sustainable catering solution. So they have partnered with like a chef, sustainable experiences. So it's kind of like, like just taking it further, almost like becoming that one-stop shop for that sustainable. Yes, I have the products, but I'm also showing you how to put them to use. There are gamified options to, for example, again, I can help you with the whole rolling out a campaign. So it's not just, you're not just promoting sustainability, I also help you drive the customers and then, obviously on the kit stuff, yes, there's just more products. It's almost like we've cracked the formula, sustainability meets food, and then we're sitting on another 100 recipes. So as the market needs, it's product growth, but then it's a very easy kind of like boxed in market, because it's just like activity boxes. So you just make more. So whereas obviously with the core business, it's just more like going to more service service offering rather than just that product piece.
Gotcha. So doubling down on the user experience, making that better, and then as you get feedback from like the market and where you see fit, you'll be expanding your product portfolio.
Yeah, but I mean, again, partly because a lot of my work is spent on education, so I might as well. That it's just the easier way to educate by almost like doing it just unlike like then finding that outlet and showcasing that way. So it's just almost like fast tracking that education piece by almost helping with that execution and straight away.
And what do those like educational events look like where you're leading? I imagine like workshops, things like that.
No, I mean it's just full stop the fact that like the product is then not, because I mean, even let's say when people see the cup, oh, it's for coffee. No, it's not. It's also for yogurts, for cocktails, for dessert. So it's more an education of people seeing beyond it's just tableware to it's an experience, and you're making it part of the experience, part of the food. So it's like more from that direction. So I mean every single email is technically educational,
Right.
because I mean,
It's,
like for example, if I'd be selling, I know, headphones, I don't need to educate.
yeah,
Whereas
pretty
here,
self-explanatory.
say it again.
Pretty self-explanatory for
Yeah,
headphones.
exactly.
I think in your case, like you're explaining, like you see a cup, some people might think like, oh, like I'm probably just going to use this for coffee, but you're trying to show them like, oh, like this is for coffee. This could be something to hold like another beverage, maybe like a cocktail, any other thing that you could use like a cup, basically.
Yeah.
And in terms of like what you're trying to achieve, like what's the overall like mission that's like guiding Strudel, and then also you yourself, like you're the chief Strudel.
Yeah. No, it's just changing that whole narrative, and obviously for this become more mainstream and like help people, well, move away from plastic in a fun way, but like also basically just like make them think, and kind of like those millions of people doing sustainability imperfectly. Because I mean, no one's gonna go change their lives, but I mean, if that's kind of like sparks thoughts, sparks conversation, sparks inspiration for something bigger, it's kind of like I've achieved what I've set out to do, kind of thing.
Right. And so you've been in this business for like 7 years or so?
Or 6, yeah, 6 and a bit.
Since like 2018.
Yeah.
So you've been in the sustainability space for nearly a decade, at least just for this venture. And you probably learned a lot being CEO and like the founder. What tips do you have for other people that are just getting into this space, especially for sustainability and navigating this sustainability fatigue that you're talking about?
Well, I think it's just like don't do anything just kind of like in a boring standard fashion. I think it's just like trying to come at it from like that fun perspective and appealing to that fun side, because no one wants to listen to another like standard like boxed in message. And I guess like even for the color choice, it's like sustainability at the moment is perceived gray, like even like you know what I mean, like the color scheme, like almost like it's fine to fight that, and then it becomes a very theological question. I mean, yes, you might have to use more in your face packaging, but then obviously like that's like again, it's millions of people doing sustainability imperfectly. Again, that's, I guess, in some form then needs to be done to reach a wider audience, because for the bigger good in that sense. It's just like trying to appeal to the 99.9% of people who care and don't care at the same time. Because at the moment, a lot of that sustainability is to people who already converted, so to say, whereas it's those 99.9% that's going to make the difference, even everyone just a little bit. And I think that's probably the focus that needs to happen, rather than going for the ones that are already doing the right things.
Right. Leaning into the fun of sustainability, and then overall like making sure that your brand is able to like really speak life into the potential customers.
Yes.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. That pretty much wraps up like what we wanted to cover in this conversation. Maxim, our chief Strudel, appreciate you taking the time to join us in this conversation and really being on this mission to make sustainability fun. So appreciate you being here today.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thanks for helping to spread the message.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this interview, follow along on EarthABC's LinkedIn to stay connected and never miss what's going on in climate tech. If you'd like to reach out or you're interested in coming on as a guest, feel free to connect with me, Sean Pack, on LinkedIn. We're always looking for inspiring ventures and founders in the climate space to feature on the show. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time.